Did you like it though? Did you?
Double time.
What's good, YouTube? We got Mr. Spencer, aka Guru Nation. The
Yes,
Guru.
sir. Guru Nation.
What's good, man? How you been?
Oh, been good, man. Been good. Glad to be on your show, Terrence. It's been a long time since we talked, but when we did, it was a lot of fun. We chopped it up a lot about the rookie class and dynasty leagues. We do this stuff year round, man. We're not casuals around here.
Hey, as I said, there's no off season for champions, and
Big facts.
Since this is my first time getting you on my show, we're gonna start it off with, when did you fall in love with fantasy football?
Man, it was a while ago, and I was a little kid, actually, back, crazy to think about, almost 20 years ago. Man, I feel old saying that because I'm about to turn 26. But, yeah, I fell in love with it around when I was 6 years old, played in a small family league. My dad, my uncle, and my cousin, and was just in love with it as a kid, and we kept doing the family league and got in more serious leagues in my teenage years. Once I turned like 14, 15, I started joining the 10, 12-man leagues, more with serious players. So that's what I kind of fell in love with it seriously. I had the kids, just the initial love with it at first. And then when I became a serious fantasy player and giving advice and stuff, was more like 10 years ago. So it's been something I've been invested in for a long time. And it's something I've always enjoyed and also enjoy giving the people advice about it. New people that are wanting to get into it, asking me for, who should I start? Who should I trade for, this and that. I always enjoy, giving my advice from years of experience.
This was up. And guess what? I just jumped right in and I didn't even ask you, where can the people find you at? What do you do? Give a little synopsis.
For sure, man. Yeah, I started off on Instagram in 2014 at Spencer the Guru. We were originally Fantasy Guru, but then I found out they had some other fantasy gurus out there. So I was like, I need to rebrand myself, make it more unique personal brand. So I rebranded to Spencer the Guru, and it's gone well. The followings kept going up. We've tried some new projects, better graphics, more reels and all that. So we've turned up the heat over on Instagram. It's still a strong account, so we've been rolling with that. And then I was also doing a lot of writing lately, writing for NOLA.com. I'm living in New Orleans, Louisiana right now, originally from Lafayette, moved to New Orleans a couple of years ago, and been writing for bet.nola.com, covering sports betting and the fantasy sports scene, and a lot of Saints and Pelicans coverage as well. We're kind of a all-around site. We focus mainly on betting and fantasy, but then we'll give our takes on the local teams as well. So, yeah, just doing a lot with the fantasy scene, betting scene, and NOLA sports scene.
Well, this was up, man. So how many leagues are you in?
I was thinking about maybe cutting down a little bit and focusing more on the ones I care about a lot. I was in 20 last year, if you count best ball. I believe I was in 18 regular, like dynasty or redraft, but in the 2 best balls. So, and I believe out of those 18, 3 were dynasty. So 15 redraft, 3 dynasty, 2 best ball. So it was a lot to handle, but it was a lot of fun. I ended up winning, shout out to Hustler, I ended up winning the 32-man league that they do over on his channel. That was, they called it the Marvel Multiverse of Madness. That was pretty wild. I was able to win the 32-man joint, so that was fun. And didn't bring home any dynasty titles this year. I was a little disappointed about that. Won a dynasty startup in 2022. But, this year was very challenging, man, with all the injuries and stuff. I didn't have quite as good a year as usual. I usually win, I'd say, at least 3, 4, sometimes 5 or 6 leagues. This year I only won that one because this was just a really tough year to navigate through everything. Made a lot of playoffs, had a lot of semifinals appearances. I don't want to necessarily say it was a bad year, but just a little disappointing as far as having guys that was like Keenan Allen, for example. He'd carry you all year, and then the playoffs come around and it just ghost.
It's funny because I just dropped a video talking about ROI, versus winning. And I was like, I didn't have a good year as far as winning. I probably only won like 3 leagues this year, but I placed in so many leagues, like, bunch of seconds, bunch of
Hmm.
thirds, that I had a good, return on investment. So, I was
Same, same.
happy about that. And one of the main players I had that was on, Keenan Allen. And this was my first year really drafting Keenan Allen like that. He just fell so low, and I was like, man, I gotta take him. Kelvin really was going before Keenan Allen. I just thought it was a crime. Just thought it was a crime.
Yep, yeah, it was. I was kind of falling for the Calvin Ridley Kool-Aid. I actually had a league where I took those two back to back in the third and fourth round of a 12-team super flex. I think I went quarterback, running back to start it off, and then third and fourth round comes around. I was like, man, receivers in these, even though it's super flex, receivers are still hella important. So I got Keenan and Ridley. And, even though Keenan got hurt, he still outscored Ridley. I mean, Ridley had an okay year, but he was very inconsistent from week to week. So, yeah, Keenan definitely was the better option of the two.
Yeah, I was trying to tell people to stay away from Ridley, man. But people, I don't know, people was dreaming about what he did 2 years ago. And I was like, bro, calm down, because I said there was a season he played after that 1 year that he finished, as a wide receiver one. And guess what? He did bad that season, and people just skipped over that season like they do when Michael Jordan played for the Wizards. They just skip over it. It happened, folks.
Yeah, you can't ignore it. I mean, that was the most recent data we had. I think a lot of people fell for it, including myself, because my logic was that, well, that season he was hurt a lot and dealing with mental health stuff. So I was just like, I think he could get, which he actually had a pretty good year. He did better in the second half, so he wasn't a total bust. He was, though, kind of a bust compared to his ADP, which if his ADP would have been like the fifth, sixth round, he'd have been just fine. But because his ADP got pushed up in the third, fourth, he ended up kind of a bust.
Yeah. So, what's your fantasy philosophy when drafting? And that could be in redraft and dynasty. What's your philosophies?
Generally best player available. I'd say not to trip too much about like, oh, I gotta fill out this certain position right now or bye weeks. But there are times where if it's like, I'm also not too. I try not to be too extreme with it either way. Like I try usually just go BPA and just kind of pick my spots as far as like if I've already got a lot of receivers and it's the 8th round, so I don't have my QB. It's like I might as well just go with a QB, because then people are going to start ripping off backup QBs, and then I don't want to be stuck with just some like completely risky QB. Even in single QB, I still like to have someone that I feel like has a chance to be an anchor QB, like Dak. I got late in a few leagues this year, and that proved to be big because he's someone that kind of fell through the cracks as far as being one of the upper tier QBs in single QB, and you could, get him at a reasonable price. And, he did pretty well, but he also couldn't have waited till like the 12th round to get him, because, I mean, at that point, someone was going to take him even as their backup. So I guess as they don't wait too long on QB, but with that in mind, just stay focused on best player available, especially in these single QBs. And then as far as dynasty, don't be afraid to go. It just, don't be afraid to take a lot of veterans, especially in a startup. I had a startup where took a lot of veterans and won the first year. Kind of paid for it this year a little bit, although I made some moves to where I got Jordan Love. So, I mean, it's, now that I got him, I had Brady on the startup team, and then he retired. But I was able to get Jordan Love in a deal, gave up a future first, but I felt like it was worth it because Jordan Love ended up freaking... He had the great stretch run. I was looking at the data. He ended up a top 5 QB to close it out. So, you just got to, don't be afraid to take the older guys. But if you do that, though, make sure to stay active with the trade market and don't sit on them for too long.
Yeah, man. Like, I think of the leagues that I took them veteran players, and hey, man, my team's been struggling ever since. So, I think for me to have more fun, I think I need a productive struggle team. I can't take a bunch of veterans because
Mhm.
then it'll be good early and burn out, and nobody want to buy my veteran players. You know, for even 75% of what they're worth. You know, people trying to give you 50 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I kind of ran into that issue with that league, but I had a good rookie draft. That's another thing. That's a big key with dynasty. Make sure you nail down those rookie drafts, man. That's where those dynasties are won and lost in the long run, I feel like, because in those ones I got in that one with the veterans, I was able to replenish. Man, I got Tajay Spears in there now, Jaden Reed. So I was able to get some strong rookies in there. And in my other one, I got Sam Laporta, Rashid Rice. Can't think of that. I had a few other ones too that I didn't even keep them on the taxi that long because I was like, damn, y'all just freaking. I see y'all fucking balling. So I just had to promote these rookies. And if you got to nail the rookies though, because if you take the wrong ones, you could be in trouble. But if you study the rookie class and figure out which rookies are in good situations and have talent, then that's how you maintain success.
And not only do you have to nail the right ones, but you actually have to have rookie picks to be able to do it. So,
Yeah, don't be that guy that sells all his rookie picks.
Yep.